and I'll just admit people in. I'm just going to make sure you're pinned and I'm pinned for the moment. Okay, so welcome back to everybody. I'm trying to think what number talk this is. It's probably number 7. And we're lucky to have Virginia here. Um, I guess when I go on the internet and on Instagram and the world that I'm involved with, I look out for different characters and different people. And I've seen Virginia's work. One is we notice Virginia, you're very hardworking, and there's lots of a whole array of work that you produce. And we've had many live event illustrators speak before, and you've been sort of on my radar for a long time, and we've managed to get you, which is good. So
Thank
I'm,
you.
I'm happy to have you here, which is nice.
My pleasure.
And I guess the first question we ask everybody is, what is your journey to now? How did you get to where you are now?
Okay. I can answer to your question, but I must say I prepared a PDF that goes through my journey.
Okay, so if you want to
And
open your PDF, we could do that. But
sure.
if you want to do
And
a light version before you start,
okay, a light version would be I was an architect and I studied architecture because I loved to draw. And at the time before internet and in a small city in Spain, becoming an illustrator was for me as far away as becoming an astronaut. So I thought, okay, architecture, I will learn how to draw properly at least. And that's how I got into this path. But I've been drawing girls and fashion my whole life. It was my passion. And so at the age of almost 40, I took the leap and I started a career as an illustrator, as freelance illustrator, first drawing anything. I mean, textbooks, decoration for napkins, for glasses, for whatever. And then I will tell you more in detail how I changed into fashion illustration and especially live sketching events.
okay, go on, share away. You should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I will share you my presentation, my PDF that gets you through my journey. And first of all, yeah, I want to thank you, Patrick and Fida, for being here. It's really an honor to be sharing my journey with and in the company of the other speakers that I saw that were also in the different talks. So I'm really honored. Thank you for that.
Good.
So yeah, this is more or less what I told you already. I'm an architect, but I love to draw girls and fashion since I'm a little child. I grew up surrounded by pattern magazines and fashion magazines because all women in my family used to sew. Actually, my grandmother used to sew in the very first atelier of Balenciaga in San Sebastian, so it was
Wow.
part of our everyday life. And because I like to draw, and I was fascinated by all these illustrations in the magazines. I love to draw figurines for my mother to tell her what I wanted her to sew for me. So this was my first language, and as I said, then I became an architect. And at the age of 40, I became an illustrator. Um, Today, I can say proudly that all these and many others are some of my clients. Of course, I didn't start here. I wouldn't have dreamed of having this in my portfolio. But then, one client leads to the other. So the first ones were really local brands and agencies. Um, yeah, I would like to make a remark here. Please notice that not all these logos are from brands in the fashion industry. Many are from the beauty industry and even from the lifestyle sector. And I think this is something interesting for ongoing illustrators because The way I see it, fashion illustration is often seen by many companies as a creative and elegant way to connect with their customers, which opens the market for us. If you think about rings, technology, hospitality, cars, even, yeah. So what I'm showing you here is it came before all these client came, and it's a little story, but I consider it very important in my path. As I said, I used to draw fashion just for fun. Whenever I was bored, or if anybody in my circle needed a special dress, I would go and sketch it, but not as a fashion designer, but more for to make something beautiful and expressive. But during the first years, the first 6 years of my career, no client work was related to fashion in any way. And then in, I think, autumn of 2015, I came across a YouTube video that was talking about a project called December, which is the project to raise money and awareness against human trafficking by wearing a dress during the whole month of, I'm only wearing only dresses during the whole month of December, and posting about it and collecting donations yeah, it's sort of Movember, but for with dresses. So I saw it and I thought, what a great idea to use fashion clothing and the femininity associated to a dress to do something good. I mean, human trafficking affects all kind of people, but especially women. So I found it interesting, and I said, okay, I will join it, but I will not only wear a dress, I will also draw a dress every day. So I made an open call on Instagram, and anyone who wanted to take part could send me a photo of themselves in a dress, and in exchange of a donation, I would turn this photo into a fashion illustration that they could share themselves. It was a huge success. I was very busy, and I mention it here because I believe it was a natural outcome of what had been my passion always, but also a seed of everything that would come later. Because you see, it was 31 days where I had to turn a normal plain photo into something more, a drawing that captured the intention of the dress, the way this person would want to feel in it. And now I'm not sorry if I'm looking like this, but my presentation is over there. So
Oh,
yes.
okay. No, that's fine.
And yeah, so yeah, this being so busy with the drawings, with the communication, with editing, with posting, and then this yeah, the busy life of December for anybody, I had to draw very quickly, and this helped me to develop a technique and a visual image that would work for me. It also gave me the visibility of all those people sharing their drawings, and also the confidence. I started seeing me a little bit like a fashion illustrator. So what came afterwards was that, yeah, due to this new visibility, I started having some commissions for fashion illustration, normal commissions that I would draw in my studio. And then in October, one Saturday, I saw on Instagram an announcement of a shopping mall here in my hometown in Stuttgart, where I live, um, announcing a fashion weekend where they would have different activities. And I had been watching already and admiring artists like Megan Morrison from Travel Right Raw, who were sketching live at events, but I hadn't seen done in Germany. And I always, when I saw it, I always felt special connection. And I would think, yeah, that it would be amazing to do this. But I was also terrified by the idea of, you know, drawing live and not being able to correct anything. But still, as I saw this announcement for this fashion weekend, I had this urge to do something, like to grab the opportunity. It was like really like falling in love, like, okay, I have to go there. And so I sent an email, a DM actually by Instagram, to the agency offering to live sketch there. I hadn't done it ever before. So I hit send and I immediately regretted it because I was recovering from pneumonia. I was exhausted and I was, of course, very scared. So it was Saturday, and by Monday they immediately answered, and we got a deal for 2 hours the coming Saturday. So it was perfect because it was 2 hours in my hometown, and I said, okay, I have nothing to lose. Um, so I did it. It went well, and I blogged about it right away on my website so that clients started finding me. They found me whenever they Googled live sketching events. So that after a couple of weeks, I already had several series of events booked for the next year, and I haven't stopped since. I had to overcome certain, I mean, looking at these photos and at these sketches right now is very embarrassing for me because yeah, neither the setup nor the sketches are what I do today. But I also feel gratitude and tenderness for the version of me that took that step. Um, and with that little 2 hour event was the beginning of a path that eventually would bring me to this really turning point in my career. So I had been doing some live sketching events for 2 years for small companies, for some charity galas. And in the summer of 2018, I got a call from an agency that had shown me on Instagram. And I really couldn't understand at the phone what was it about, but it turned out to be the launch party for the fragrance Joy in Germany by Dior. So we did that in the summer, and Dior was really, I mean, the responsible of the brand was really thrilled with my sketches. That year, Dior was sponsoring the Christmas party for Vogue Germany, and they wanted to have me there. And that changed everything because, of course, the guests here are the ideal audience for these kind of events. All of them were beauty and fashion insiders, and they loved the experience. The setting, I mean, the setting itself was magical because they had turned a library in a villa into a, I know, a tribute to Christian Dior. They have removed all books and replaced them with some framed drawings I had done in advance, one for each guest. But the thing the thing that really amazed them were the sketches I drew live. We had to extend the event. I was drawing there until 3 in the morning, and of course, many of those guests became afterwards my new clients because I mean they were marketing professionals of the brands that are really interested in this kind of thing. So yeah, as I say, it opened the door to many things, and especially to a kind of of events that I probably like the best, which is the launch of products. I will talk a little bit about the different kind of events. I don't know if it's okay. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're
okay.
just excited to hear from you.
Okay, so it's good. So as I say, the kind of event that I like the best is the launch of new products because you work normally shorter hours than, I don't know, if you're working in a store. Um, then yeah, it's there's a concept. I'm showing you here what Joy, I did it before the Vogue party, but then I also did the launch of Paradox for Prada, the launch of myself for Yves Saint Laurent, and recently this exclusive collection, Anatomy of Dreams by Valentino. So as I say, on the contrary of other events, the launch of a new product is a part of a bigger thing. So there's already a creative concept. The whole campaign is built around it. And so your drawings have to adapt to it somehow. You're limited with colors, with certain materials, with papers, with size, whatever. I enjoy these limitations because it's a little creative challenge. And what I love is that at the end of the evening, you have a cohesive, nice collection because they look similar and also they fit the product somehow. It's also nice that it's well organized. I mean, it's a round thing, well timed. The guests are very appreciative. You also have a good visibility because there are many influencers and celebrities sharing the drawing with a large audience, which is the first goal of the brand as they contact us. But it's also a good thing for us because I mean they're yeah, promoting the product, but also many people see our work. Another type of events is the charity galas or the charity balls. Very enjoyable to work at because you have, of course, these amazing gowns and all ladies, especially wearing spectacular outfits. They're also very happy to be sketched because they have chosen this outfit with care and they love to see it captured. It's also very good for visibility, not only because they share, but also because very often the people in at the event could become clients too. Usually are people also in the publishing industry and these kind of things. So I even got some book commissions from regular guests of this kind of event. But they also have a very not so glamorous side because they go on very late. The lighting conditions are far from ideal. I mean, in my experience, at least, there's almost never a clear time where you should draw. They have a busy plan with many speeches, with dinner, with music performances, and at the end, sometimes you just have the time where somebody yeah, goes out for or stands up for to grab a drink or to go to the restroom. So you never know how much time you have for each person or at all. You spend many hours doing nothing and waiting, and then out of a sudden you have a queue of people waiting for you to draw them. So it requires a lot of adaptability mentally and technically too. But that said, I mean, they're always a special experience, and many times, like I'm showing here, the live sketching is just part of the job. You might be involved in creating some visuals for the invitations or for banners or these kind of things. So it's yeah, it's okay. The most common type of events are, of course, in-store events, just to activate the brand and attract customers. And actually, there's not much to tell about that because it's you go there, you draw, you go. But sometimes, like in this occasion, yeah, there's more conceptual or yeah, an artistic concept around it. So this one was the launch of the Lady Dior art collection of 2020 in January, just before the world went crazy. This art, I mean, this lady art collection is a limited collection, I think done yearly, where Dior invites mm, renowned artists to make an interpretation of the lady bag. And so they create something, yeah, they create a unique piece that becomes a yeah, collectible art piece. So the 2020 creations here in the German part of Europe were presented in selected Dior stores, and I had the honor to sketch the invited clients in Frankfurt, in Munich, and in Vienna. We also had Berlin, but we had to cancel it. And here, what I really loved was the idea of connecting the world of the artists who had created the bag, and then having the presence of an artist in the store. I mean, Dior created here a very special atmosphere. I remember the clients speaking softly, like in an art gallery. It was very intimate, very calm. Um, Really a fest of creativity.
Do they ask you any questions about paper, or do they just provide you with, because it most of it looks
Yeah,
like watercolor paper or art
yeah,
paper.
yeah.
Um,
No, usually, I mean, Dior is, in my experience, a very easygoing client. We just agreed about the size. I bring always my own paper, which
okay,
is watercolor paper. And they provide the envelopes, the little folders where so we have to agree on the size so that they match my paper and their envelopes. But the rest was just do whatever you want. I mean, I also decided here it was a time when, and I really like it the best when I do my sketches without face. It looks more fashionable to me. But then again, it also requires a certain vision from the client, because in this case they welcomed it, they agreed, no problem. But sometimes you have clients where they are like, yeah, could you draw the faces and so on, and it becomes a little bit more, I
difficult.
don't know, too sweet for me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. And do you ever get commissioned to work with Dior, the designers? Because
No, 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 no. No, I also have to say I see a lot of, I mean, there are levels, right? So I mean, I get contacted by Dior Germany, which is controlling or managing Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, so the German-speaking area of Europe, and Paris, and
it's on its own. Okay.
it's completely another thing. And I mean, here it's Dior is, as I say, quite easygoing, but there are other clients like Chanel and Louis Vuitton. I cannot even use their their logos or say that I worked for them or show the drawings or anything. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, different ligas of the regional
Yeah.
country brand, and then the like corporate Dior.
Yeah, because
Okay.
when I did work for Dior,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I had to illustrate some of the garments from Raf Simons.
Mm-hmm.
uh, I worked luckily directly with Dior in Paris,
That must be amazing.
and but your illustrations would fit the designer's desire. So I'm surprised that nobody has picked you up, because I know some of the live event illustrators, if they have a very distinctive style,
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised more of them don't get picked up by the designers to
Mm-hmm.
illustrate with the designers, because
I
there's a
mean, as we say in German, your words in God's ear. It
yeah.
would be great.
Yeah, so I'm shocked, because obviously we see lots of live event illustrators, but when
Hmm.
you see certain ones that actually understand the figure and proportion, silhouettes, uh, the body
Hmm.
composition, pose, all of them elements that you've considered capture the essence of a luxury fashion house. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm just shocked because you almost do capture the essence of luxury in your drawing.
Thank you. I'm flattered of hearing that. Who knows? I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
I'm
you
not
never
retiring yet, so
you never know, and
I never know. Yeah.
I'm shocked that no one's passed it through and
Okay.
said, when they go for meetings with Dior, uh,
Yeah.
do you give many of your drawings to like some of the Dior team?
Yeah, I mean, for example, this the little guy on the right here, on the bottom right, he was one of the staff. I mean, of the seller, the one selling in Vienna. But my impression is that like the people I have contact with, they are very much into organizing events, into marketing, selling maybe, but not really into the creative part. And I don't know if they really talk about it. And then also this is, as I said, this the German part of Europe is not it's not London.
Yeah, no, I
It's not
know.
Paris. So it's I don't know.
But
I mean,
live event illustration and all the illustrators that I see at the moment who are really getting strong is in Germany. We're seeing
it's
a
true.
big group of you.
It's true. I think the market is in fact strong enough to have the budgets and the resources to do these kind of things. But I don't know. I see it really a little bit yeah, working separately or like a parallel line to the creative part of the brands.
Yeah, I'm just always shocked because I see
Okay.
so many great. I think the only negative for Germany is there's not a good fashion week in Germany, and I think until
No,
it gets
that's
more
true.
more
That's true.
prominence, you need a few good German designers.
Yeah, we need this, regardless of the whole life sketching thing. Yeah, but as yeah, well, I will. I think this thing is really an expression of where Germany is strong, and this what these are kind of events that are not in the categories I showed you before. This is a fragrance festival. So it's called the Dove Stars, and it's 1 week in Düsseldorf, where the city is full of different perfume related events because the industry and the public they vote for the best perfume. And in this country you have the people want maybe because we don't have a good fashion week or whatever, they're willing to go out to these kind of things. So there's in this case Dior had organized an exhibition inside of a grand hotel, and people would book their visits in time slots, and I was there in the waiting area because they came early, so I had to entertain them sort of. And I mean, they loved it. There were people who came more than once to be sketched again and again. They came with special dresses. They even skipped the the exhibition, and I was drawing 7 hours a day for 5 days in a row, sometimes with extra shifts at the Dior boutique. It was crazy. And this is where I think, I mean, the how would I say that? I think the marketing teams are happy with these kind of things, but for the creative part is too, you know, too much for the public, for normal people to,
Yeah,
I don't know. But well, the good thing here is because I was drawing, as I say, like crazy, and for so long, um, it's I don't know. There is something really fascinating when you have to draw that much and that quick. that you sort of your brain switches off. You don't think, you just draw. And some of my favorite drawings in my career came from this week in Düsseldorf, including the one here on the left that you saw on the cover of this presentation. Um, and I must say, sometimes I cannot really get this kind of energy out of the sketch if I have more time. It's a tricky thing. Yeah. So this is Germany is good for marketing, but not so much for creative things.
Yeah.
If it's not cars.
Yeah.
And yeah, what I'm showing here is the special things or the special places where live sketching has brought me to. Places where I really sometimes I have to pinch myself. Like I was drawing at the pop-up store of Armani Beauty in the Berlinale, the film festival. I was also this thing here on the left was a pop-up store of also Armani, where the agency had created, and I think this I love it when the creatives in the agency see the potential in the live sketching and do something about it. You just don't sit there and draw the people. So what they did here is, as soon as I was finished with the sketching, the drawing was scanned automatically and the background was removed. And instantly, this small figure appeared on a 6 meter screen behind me and was walking and getting bigger, walking a red carpet and even striking a pose in the middle. So this had a huge, I mean, everybody who was drawn was filming this little figure walking around and sharing it. So it was amazing. Another crazy thing was this drawing 3 days in the gondolas of the panoramic Ferris wheel in Vienna. They had converted one gondola in my studio, and I had 20 minutes to draw the guests they had invited as we went through one round. So I was 3 days spinning around. Uh, Fortunately, it goes very slowly and it's very calm, but still. And then the highlight of this kind of things was last year, during the Olympic Games in Paris, where I was invited to draw inside the Louvre Museum. So this was really, I don't know, yeah, really crazy. It was a private event organized by the company who managed the games, and so it was a group of VIPs visiting the museum or having the museum for themselves after hours, with Michelin star menu and soprano and string quartet and two little illustrators working as crazy. So I remember, I mean, this was really, because then afterwards walking through the empty museum in the night and then getting out and all these crowds and the Olympic flame, these are things where I'm so thankful that I started with this crazy idea with the shopping mall in my town. Um, because I mean, of course, I make a living out of that, and that's my job, but it also brings me to experiences that are, yeah, amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, if you don't have any questions yet, I
No,
would,
we're
yeah.
good. If they put them in the chat.
Okay. Can I see the
We're
chat? Or you moderate the chat, right?
I'll moderate. Yeah, it's okay for the moment. I just checked
Okay.
one. Is
Then I will go on with my plan, because I must say I was a little bit afraid of talking so much in English. I thought, okay, I have to have a structure and go. I'm
no, it's good. It's perfect. This is
okay.
because usually I talk too much, so it's nice to let you talk.
Okay, no risk with me of you talking so much. It's that's my part.
No, it's good.
Okay, so I showed the different kinds of yeah, the groups of sketching live events, and now I would like to talk a little bit about techniques and materials. So as I started in the very beginning, I would use Tombow markers and just blur the lines with some water brush to create shadows. And then I would use watercolor pencils to add some color. Now, with the time, it has evolved my set, and I work with real ink brushes and I make shadows and color directly from the watercolor palette. I mean, I mostly because it looks fancier and people like it because it looks more, a proper watercolor palette looks more like an artist than watercolor pencils. Nobody knows them outside of our world.
Yeah.
So it's partly because of that, but also in any way, I like to keep my material list short because first of all, you never know how much place you will have on the desk waiting for you if it's a desk. And also, the more things you carry, the more time you need to decide what to use. So I like to have it short. And as these are my favorite materials, but upon clients' request, I have drawn with other materials. I have drawn with makeup products, and I loved it. I have drawn like in the Louvre digitally on the iPad. I've worked only with pencil and real lipstick. I mean, whatever. Here on the top, you see me with the hat. This was during COVID, but I had to sketch walking around through a park, carrying a foldable chair with no table because events could happen only outdoors and it wasn't allowed for people to gather around me. So I was, like that. I have drawn on raffia bags, on record sleeves, very often with very low light or with a DJ playing loudly next to me. What I want to say is, you need your go-to tools, but what really matters is flexibility, being flexible, because you have to be flexible with the materials, because sometimes the client has its own preferences. You have to be flexible with the setup because conditions are often far from ideal. You have to be also flexible with the style. You see here on the lower part left, sometimes you have 3 minutes for a sketch and you have to really go to the essentials. And sometimes you have 10 minutes and you can enjoy the details. So sometimes you draw full fashion figures, sometimes you draw just the face. You have to adjust so far to technique and material. Then another big part of this job that I couldn't have thought of it. I mean, I have to prepare a quote for tomorrow that is crazy. It's organizing travels, especially in the time before Christmas. That is our most busy time. You have to look for all the travel arrangements already, of course, in advance to make the quotation, but then to book all these things, cancellation happens. I mean, it's a big part, sometimes bigger than even, I mean, many times when I arrive to the place and I start to draw, I sort of exhale and say, okay, now it's the easy part because the rest is more demanding. And then you have, of course, of the whole bookkeeping, keeping all your receipts under when you're traveling and scanning them and processing them for the bookkeeping. And talking about bookkeeping, working with big names implies sometimes also working with the conditions that big companies impose on us. So you have to sign framework agreements, you have to provide proof of liability insurance for big amounts of money, you have to show that you're listed in registers you didn't know about, You have to accept very long payment terms. And this is where I see that to be at eye level with, I mean, for us, a small self-employed person, to be at eye level with these big companies, it's important to have an organization at your side that helps you with pricing policy, with insurance, with legal issues. And in my case, is the Illustratorenorganisation in Germany that represents us illustrators and makes an excellent job. So anyone here in the area, I think they represent even illustrators in Austria and Switzerland, don't doubt of joining them. I mean, there is a fee, but if you succeed in having the proper price for your work once, this fee is I mean it's
There's nothing.
more than paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and about technique, yeah, I wanted to talk also, don't forget to make courses. Also thinking about the Illustratorenorganisation, they make courses not only for creative things. This is the least part. It's more about, yeah, pricing, legal issues, these kind of things. So I done a couple of them with them. And also online, I remember a very, very good course by Seth Godin dedicated to grow as a freelancer. And yeah, I mean, all this helps you to evolve as an artist, but also as a business owner. And
Is that the association for just illustrators as a
yeah, only illustrators. There's another organization for designers altogether, graphic designers and so on.
yeah,
But this one is specific for illustrators. And I mean, they have a lot of resources online, but they even publish this kind of real books giving you detailed information about pricing based on practice. It's not, they're not some fantasy prices. It's based on experience from to for all kind of jobs. I mean, I don't know, wrapping paper, also live sketching. I must say, the moment they put out these, I increased my prices because I saw, okay, this you know what is inside of the market. So it's really, and as far as I know, I don't know, France has a similar organization. They also do a big job in you know in lobbying in the whole European politic scene
yeah,
about our
fair
usage
pricing and
rights,
yeah,
copying, all these kind of things. So it's the, I mean, I think that even if I didn't profit in a way for myself, it's a good thing to support
yeah,
because you know doctors have their organizations, lawyers have their organizations, and sometimes we're just a little, you know, too individualistic or too isolated from the rest, and so
yeah,
it's
yeah. I know many of the other German live event illustrators are part of that. Uh,
hmm.
they shared it with me.
Yeah, I mean they're really fantastic. So this would be the part of my live sketching. I brought you also a couple of, we could really go quickly through this. I do also some commissions in my studio. This one for Wolford here was actually before I started drawing live, and I loved it. It was one of the things that the visibility of the December project brought me. The other one here, I'm bringing it because, again, flexibility. Sometimes you have to draw using jewelry as part of your lines. um, and this slide here, I'm showing it because there are three examples of how the connections that you or the people you meet through the live sketching events can bring you to other projects. The one on the left was Guerlain. I had done a lot of things for them, live sketching, and they came to me with this idea of an advertorial for Vogue, where I would draw a model while she was posing, and then they would publish the drawings and the photos. And so it was a good mixture. Then I have here for Handroll, which is a German fine lingerie. I had a contact. She was working at Hugo Boss. We wanted to make some live events together, and it didn't happen. And years after, she was working in an agency in Munich, and she remembered me for this other thing that I didn't have to do anything with live sketches, but yeah, it was fine. And then the third one, this portrait here, it's a good example of a thing that happens a lot. Is this you have a contact person in one company is bringing you a lot of commissions, a lot of live sketching or whatever, and then she changes, she goes somewhere else, and then you think, oh, then I lost my contact there. But this was actually the woman who had brought me to the Christmas party of Vogue, as she was working for Dior. Then she changed to Lara Mercier, and the good thing is it expands
Reach, yeah.
your range. So sometimes it's really a direct connection, like the Guerlain thing. They keep going. Sometimes it's this not when they say no. Sometimes it's just not yet. And then this other thing is that this jumping of people from one company to the other is sometimes is helping us. And the last set of projects I'm showing here has to do again with flexibility, because many times in my experience, they don't call me because I mean, many times it's because they like what they see in other projects or in my live sketching. But many times it's just they know you, they know you're an illustrator, and they come with a briefing that doesn't really suit your style, like these portraits where I had to be very accurate, or also one of my favorite projects, the Cartier Valentine's Day cards. The place had to be recognizable, the jewelry had to be almost photorealistic. So I I envy the illustrators who have like one very definite style, and they stay at that, because I think it makes things easier. But I have the nature that I'm really curious, and I like to try things out. And so whenever something like this comes, I don't say no, it's not my style. I go like, okay, let's try it. And I also like to see how yeah the brand itself, or the project having an impression in the or yeah in the final product. So it's yeah this is what
Good. Is that the last slide?
I think we have two more, but it was just about talking about my my view of fashion illustration altogether. As I told you, I started because I mean my first input of fashion illustration is very everyday life related, because it was all around me as I was a child. And so I also think that when I draw life, what people like is to see themselves in sort of an elevated way, because many times a plain photo, it's not really a fashion photo, but if you do a drawing out of just jeans and a t-shirt, it has sort of more an elevated, more like intentional. So I think they see themselves in the way they intended to be as they dressed in the morning before life came in the way. And this is also I enjoy. I mean, of course I like to draw high fashion, but sometimes the fashion itself and the photograph is so fantastic. Cannot. I don't see what I can what I can add to that. But with every day I wouldn't even call it fashion, but with everyday outfits is where I see that I can do something. And so when I draw for myself, just for fun, I'm also attracted to very so understated fashion, and I also like this character of not finished, of just a sketch. I guess I get bored easily, so I'm yeah, I like sketches better than
Is
very
is
polished drawings.
is there any other projects that you would like to do?
You know what? But I mean, it's so in the beginning that I don't really know how to express it because I'm curious and interested by in artificial intelligence, but I don't want to miss the joy that it means for me to draw. So I'm working on in a project with some other creatives here in my hometown around artificial intelligence. I would, but I mean, I've spent like 2 afternoons working on that. Otherwise, I would, of course, I would love to upgrade like the level of my live events. And I mean, last year the Olympic Games in Paris was great, but I would be also happy to go. I don't know, Côte d'Azur. It has a lot of nice events. Yeah. Um,
Even like prints or I'm just trying
mm,
to think
I've
where
I've
else you
done
could go.
yeah, I mean I've done many other things that I've not shown here. Last thing I did illustrations for a London publishing house about some do-it-yourself bags book. So um, I mean I love all kind of projects, but it's the way I see it now. I found a place, or I've made myself a place in the world of live sketching, and this is something I wouldn't like to miss. So I would like to grow in that direction, but I've seen it in the past that growing in one direction also gives you some opportunities from other fields. So yeah,
Yeah, I think at the moment the return on time and
mhm,
investment for live sketching is so good in
yeah,
comparison to editorial work,
yeah,
which is nearly dead.
yeah,
So small and the pay is so low, where
yeah,
live events has rejuvenated the whole of the fashion
yeah,
illustration world. And I think
yeah,
every it's a really good moment for people that can draw to
hmm,
have these like gateways into these luxury brands, as you said. And I think live events has opened that door for you. And
yeah,
it's been great, and it's great to see the evolution of your work as well, how it's become a little bit more dreamy, a little bit more
hmm,
uh, like there's more dancing through the drawing, and you can
hmm,
see how you've simplified and almost modernized your drawing technique, uh,
yeah,
and you simplified it to a refined style, and I think
yeah.
you've almost, well, we don't want to say perfected, but you've got to a good moment. And I think
Yeah,
you're now
I
enjoying it.
imperfected it in the wood way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think, taking things out, eliminating,
Yeah,
making them decisions, making it more mysterious, I think
yeah,
adds the drama to the illustration.
yeah.
And I think it's aligned with fashion brands. And I think especially luxury fashion houses. So and what's great to hear from you is how adaptable you are
Mm,
to you're thinking like an illustrator and as a commercial artist who is willing to negotiate and go, okay, I'll sit on a wheel, or I can go in the air, or I can go in a small room with no light. You're not complaining, and I think that's the bits that people remember. They came, things weren't working, they got on with it, and it all was good in the end. It always turns out good in the end.
yeah,
Um, rather than complaining and moaning and many other things. And I
Yeah.
think that's what gives you a longer journey. So, but I'm surprised, and I'll be pretty sure in time, um, bigger opportunities will come and better opportunities. But I'm surprised that the designers haven't really captured into you, because we do see a lot of designers looking at what we share. So I
Mm-hmm.
know personally a lot of the designers. One who I know was a Pringle. He
Mm-hmm.
went, and we've got people who are at Gucci.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Turner, who was one of our speakers, is VIP for Gucci. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they're looking at what we do, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
always wondering, is it because they're illustrators who are already working in-house and who brings on to other people? Um, and someone did say, like we did the Ungaro project, where we pitched a load of illustrations and then they turned them into prints. So lots
Mm-hmm.
of little things happen through our,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, our channels. But what you're doing, I've been watching, and it's really nice and amazing.
Thank you.
And I think the German illustrators have really been stepping up the level
Mm-hmm.
of the magic of fashion illustration. So we're seeing you, and you'll probably know all the names of all the German illustrators that I see and share. But you're one of I guess the main ingredients at the top. So it's nice
Thank
to
you.
have you here
It's,
and
it's it's
sharing.
nice that you see me like that. I mean, I don't know all of them, but it's true that I know couple of them, and this is also something that I would like to go to you guys who might be at the beginning of. Uh, I mean, network, whichever network you have, is very important. And me and my colleagues into the live sketching, we give ourselves a lot of jobs because sometimes the client asks and you are not available that day. And as you say, I think a big part of this job is making things easier for your client in any way. And if this way means you're giving the name of another illustrator because they need one, I mean, they're gonna take any other because you're not available. So it's much better you offer them one that you know that it's good. And my experience is that the client sticks to you, they come back. So it's not they're running with a new one, but you solve them a problem. And you also show some confidence, like, yeah, I mean, we're all here on this open market. And so, yeah, network.
Um, I'm trying to think of other questions because you've answered so many questions. And
I talk too much.
no, 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 it's good because you went through it in a very clear way. And over this last 3 or 4 days, we've interviewed a lot of live event. I really wanted to interview many live event artists from beginner to middle
Mhm.
to the top. And do you think there's, because you mentioned something about being represented and things like that. Do you think there's anything that could be improved for live event illustrators? Like, is there something out there that you go, oh, if only we had this, it would make it easier?
But the thing that I miss is the client not asking us or having an open conversation about possibilities. And and I mean in the way that many times they come with a closed concept. Let's say, I mean, very simple things like we have 4 hours and 100 people. We have to draw everybody. It's like, okay, it's not possible. That it's there's no way you can do that. So, or I don't know. I mean, even with the furniture, sometimes they sit you at places where you can even sit. But um, I think that if the minds of marketing people would sit together with the minds and the experience of a live illustrator, some like the example I showed you with the agency where they use the drawing to make really an attraction to activate the brand by putting this drawing on a screen. And this kind of using the illustration not just to draw the people, but to convert it into, to turn it into something more than that. But I often see that the people in charge, as I said, I have the impression that we here in Germany, we're a little bit in the province of the of the fashion brands, and it is often the just the marketing people with some ideas that just come from the marketing, but that they don't have any really, yeah, knowledge of
To
how
make it
fast
bigger and
or
better. Yeah.
yeah, it's like for example, I've drawn a couple of times with makeup products, and this is something I would do many more times. I think it's really fun for the client. It presents maybe not luxury or not all makeup products, but introducing something new into the live fashion, or drawing big instead of drawing always in your little corner. I don't know, making a little show at least partly in this. And I've done certain things more or less spontaneously at the last Prada events, but there was no concept behind it. So I think it would be, yeah,
So
I see
almost
potential there.
informing marketing teams how to use live event illustrators to get the
Yeah,
best outcomes.
yeah, or yeah, like not telling us at the end with their closed concept, but more including us in the first conversations, what you want to achieve, what is possible, and let's just just brainstorm about how we can do things there. I see that many times the new stuff comes just from an urgency situation, like the COVID thing where I had to draw walking around, but not from a thought concept. So.
Yeah. Okay, well that's good for us to know because it's always good to think about what could be added value from a because we know live event illustrators have so many skills, and it's a
Mm,
shame that they just go, okay, just do here, sit there, do the little drawing and do it and go.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think the opportunity is wider, and we try to showcase, we try to show it rather than say it. So we say,
Mhm.
maybe you could make reels, there's animations that could come from it, TikToks, or
Yeah,
could there be Snapchat filters? All of these things we
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
try
yeah,
to open up, yeah. And I think
yeah,
it's nice to hear it. But you know,
yeah.
but Virginia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been excellent having you and hearing about your work and you know we share your work and you know we love what you do and it's really nice to see your journey, which is quite nice to hear. And it's good for other people to hear how you've really sort of you push, you treat it like a professional approach, and I think that's quite important for illustrators to really hear your way of thinking. And we're hearing this throughout this week.
Hmm.
Like you, it's the people that are hard working, treat it professionally, and want to get better at it. And I think and being adaptable.
Hmm.
That's they're the key ingredients to it. And then new things always come. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's quite nice. But Virginia, thank you for your time and
Thank you, Patrick.
it's lovely to see you because we only communicate via Instagram. So
Yes.
it's good to have a chat and have you in our chats and our talks. So thank you so much, and we're lucky to have you. So have a
Thank
lovely
you.
day and
You too.
enjoy the sun. We have a little bit of sun today in the
Yeah,
UK.
we have sun here today. I enjoyed it already in the this morning. And yeah, thank you, thank Fida, and thank all people who are listening. I hope it was informative and valuable what you heard. And yeah, see you around.
Super. Thank you. Thank you so much and have a
Thank
great day.
you. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Bye bye.